Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the late delay. There's just a little bit of a technical hiccup. We were able to fix it so you guys can watch us go live. Because again, this is a podcast, and again, I'm glad Anthea picked up on the technical issue because this is a podcast that I really think is going to save a lot of people's hearts and help them in a positive way. So I
Absolutely.
didn't want you guys and girls to miss out on it. I think it's very important for you to hear this message because it's not talked about enough. I don't think. I don't think it's talked about enough.
I agree with you because I never really knew about it until we started doing this.
Um,
Um, so yeah, it's definitely not spoken about enough, and I'm on the internet quite a lot. Um, yeah, and I listen to a lot of love and relationship podcasts. So the fact that I hadn't really gone into that and actually understood that, then to me it's like, well, if I never knew about it and I'm 42, then imagine how many other people don't know to do this. Um, and I think what we've said before, it's so great to be able to have our experiences and be able to pass them on and be able to share what we've got, what we've done, and what's gone right, what's got wrong, what's the best things. And I'm definitely always learning when we do these podcasts, and I love them. I love the conversations, and I think it is life changing for people to hear real life things happening, and for us to have these discussions, open, open-hearted discussions. They're very just they're raw in that sense. It's not pre-thought of. It's not like, oh, we need to say this or we need to say that. It is just free flow. Yes, we have some like context to go by, yes, but at the same time our conversations is just what they are. They're not pre-done or anything. We're just here being
yeah,
open.
they're just raw conversations straight from the heart, guys. And before we get started in the topic, because it's so important, guys, please like, share, subscribe. Like, look, we're trying to climb up in the algorithm. We're trying to at least get to 100 subscribers, and we can't do that without you guys. We're not going to sit here and tell you why you should subscribe, but we just offer a lot of value and new context to the space, a masculine and feminine dynamic. So, if you guys can literally just smash that like button, help us so we can continue to help you. And that's it. You can follow us on all of those platforms. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you guys really want the shorter version of this, go on Instagram. You know what I mean? Love and relationships dot podcast. And you'll be able to see a short not watered down, but more of just the cliff notes of what this podcast was about. And then you're also going to see us start to bump on Twitter as well.
Yay, exciting. So we're finished. I mean, we've got two more shows left, or maybe I think you're doing one
3.
next Wednesday, three more shows left, and then that's it for the end of 2021. And we've done how many months now? Just over six. Are we
Yeah,
on
just
coming up
over
to
6.
6 months now, right? So we've been consistent. We've been here. We are going to continue, and we do love it. And again, I would like to always say, if there is any subjects that anybody wants us to discuss and is struggling with and would like us to really dab into it and really expand on the subject, then please do let us know. It's always nice to hear from you guys, because this is for you guys. That we do it. Yes, we do it for ourselves, but we also do it for you guys, mostly to help you guys, have a better relationship, or all round better relationships, and come to that place of self-love and acceptance in you, and where you're going and who you are within the relationship.
I think what we'll do is we'll post our emails on the on Instagram for sure, and we should post it in the Mental Warriors Health group as well,
Yeah,
for any future topics that people want us to talk about.
brilliant.
Yeah, I think we'll do that after that. So We'll post it available on all of our social media platforms for you guys to go and look at. And then for you guys to submit any topics. Like we're always coming up with topics on our own, but it's nice to engage with
Yeah.
our fan base for them to say, "Hey, they actually did a topic that I actually wanted to hear about."
Yeah, and that's such a nice thing, isn't it? To be able to have that, like somebody you suggesting something and then us speaking about it. It's a nice, it's lovely. So yeah, please do. Please let us know.
Yeah, so we'll be able to do that for you. So, with today's topic of why it's important to vet your partner. Ooh, you see, guys,
So
look,
many
a lot of the
reasons.
stuff that we talk about, a lot, and now it's starting to come to the rise. Now people are actually starting to talk about it. It wasn't really talked about much before. So, I guess the first question we have to ask ourselves before we get started: why is it important to vet your partner?
Wow, I think it's important because this is the person you're going to spend your time with. This is the person that you're going to be meeting up with, going out with, and I suppose it's the same with friendships, isn't it? It's like,
It is.
but it's actually easier with people that you're just going to be friends with because you don't really take too much to heart in that sense. But with a partner, especially if you're a maturer person, you're going to be spending time with them. You're going to be doing a lot of things with this person. So
Well,
if
let's
they,
rewind it back a little bit and let's tell them what vetting is
yeah,
first.
okay, let's go. Yeah, you
Yeah,
want to
let's tell
start
them
with
what
that?
it
Right, let's
is.
start with that one then. Let's start with that one.
I will give a brief definition of it. Vetting somebody is making sure, like, so you know who you are, first of all, before you even do this. Vetting someone is making sure that they're a good fit for your life. That's what the vetting process is. So, what you're doing is, let's say romantically, we'll use examples because it's easier. You meet somebody, right? They like you like them. You guys have probably gone on a few dates. You're in the vetting process to see if they're qualified for you to be with them and them with you.
Yeah, and they could be right off the first back of things, something that
Yeah.
they say or do, you go, it's not for me.
Well,
But
you're asking questions.
yeah, definitely questions.
You are watching behavior
And I think listening to the
and
answers of the
listening
person,
to the
yeah,
answers of it.
and allow them to actually elaborate on what they're saying. So, because so many of us will jump in or want to say something, especially if you're like just meeting someone, right? But actually, if you sit back and listen, they will then reveal themselves
That's true.
what it is that you want to hear, what you're hearing, because if you cut them off, they could have about to say something that could have been the deal breaker for you, but because you
That's a good
didn't take
point.
that time, right? So let them just talk. Let them talk and learn to just listen. And you will get so much of your answers from you just sitting back and listening, right?
I'd say that was a gem dropper right there, but I will also say it's how they move
Mm,
with you and how they move with others.
mm,
So I mean, like, let's say you guys go on a date. Do they tip the waitress? How they treat the waitress? You know how we're out in a public setting.
yeah. Are they polite?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Are they
yeah,
polite? Are they like how they move is gonna be is very crucial to that. Then number two, as Anthea said, they're gonna reveal a lot of their answers to you, and that's why it's so important to vet because like as we get older, like the ages that me and Anthea are at, you cannot afford to be careless with your dating life.
no, you can't. You just can't,
You
honestly.
cannot. A lot of times,
No.
like yeah, when you were younger, you were a little careless, but like as you've
Mm.
gotten older, there should be less carelessness and more wisdom.
Yes. more of the listening, more of the questions. And like you rightfully said before, we said about listening was asking the questions to get the answers. Like,
Yeah.
obviously it's not going to be an interview. You're not going to make it into like,
At the
yeah,
end of the day, it kind of
it is
is.
an interview, but you're not going to like portray it as an interview. It's going to be
No, but
very
not on
well
the first date.
unnatural. No, but asking those questions are really important. Like, and I think it's not, it's not harsh to say on the first date, you're talking and someone says, oh, one of the things I'd love is to have a family. Then that,
Yeah.
you know, at least. And I don't think that's a harsh thing to be even asking a question about, because if you're somebody who doesn't want to create a family and they do, then you're straight away, you might as well just pay up the bill and off you go.
Well,
Because
that's why I think, because there's a process to vetting. You can vet very quickly, which a lot of people are very good at. So what they do is they hang out with the person a lot. They vet them very well. So then over a time period, they're able to see this person's who they say they are. They're able to see them as a collective.
mm,
There's some people that have been hurt before, like from past experiences. They vet very slowly. So again, you just have to figure out what category you're in when it comes to the vetting process. And I love it with the questions. We have to be not afraid to ask the tough questions.
mm.
What is your goals? What are your dreams? Do you want kids? I don't want to hear about ex guys, but I'm just saying, what is your past like? The past tells a lot about your present, of the person you've become or who you haven't become yet. What are your financial goals? A lot of people avoid the financial question a lot, which I think is super important. Another one is like, again, and I have to say this, and I hate to say this: do you have any secret children? Because
But they're not a secret if they're going to tell you.
no, but I meant like, because a lot of times you'll hear people, they'll get to know someone and things are amazing, and then they find out they got like a secret child, I got a secret marriage, like they got like something, and you're like, because as you said,
Why didn't I know about that, right?
but see, that's why I said it's so important, because what you said, people will tell on themselves.
Yeah, they
If they
will
like
tell on
you enough,
themselves.
things will just start to flow and they'll start to tell on themselves. So then you'll start to see like, like let's say you find out, for example, that I'll use a beautiful example. They're still having bedroom fun with their ex. They're not
Mm.
committed to them. They're not together, but they're still having bedroom fun. That to me is a red flag.
Okay. The biggest red flag to know, well, for me, is like you walk away. It's
Yeah, but I meant like, to me that would be a red flag. Like if I asked them like, hey, like like how has your dating history been? Well, I'm not with anybody right now, but me and my ex are still like philandering around. I'm like, no,
no, that's a
because then
no
that
no.
shows me that there's an ex that you haven't let go of, or that you don't plan on letting go of.
Yeah, there's
Because if
still an
you
interest there, isn't there, Michael? There's an interest, isn't it?
exactly, because if there wasn't, you would have stopped sleeping with him a long time ago and been fully into
New.
dating. Like you would have been like, you know what I mean? So it's little things like that you have to ask. So that is the vetting process, right? Being able to ask the questions. But and then I guess we have to go back to the second question, which is, why is it important to vet your partner? And I think Anthea touched on it a little bit, as she said, is it's more of a sense of, you're going to be your future partner. It's going to be someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So why would you make a careless decision like that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you have to, and I think going back to the first one, another one is
yeah,
time. If like you got like, you said some people do it very quickly, but
quickly.
actually, I think even if even if you're in that situation where you think you're listening and you're thinking, well, but I've done it so fast, it doesn't mean that you're stuck. It just means that now you've got the time and space and you realize, okay, I need to take some more time for this to understand more, and maybe take them into situations, maybe take them around your family, see what they're like around your
Mm,
family, maybe take them, go to more places to see what that's what that looks like for you guys, you know, because just because you're with them, it doesn't mean that's the be and end of it, and that's it. You can't move. You're stuck.
Right.
You can't do anything different. You can't then walk away. No, because we've all got free will and we all have choice to do what we want to do, right? So I think time is a big one in that. So as you get to know someone, because you know what, Michael, I think I've said this before. It's funny because people will show you what they want you to see to start with, and then as time goes on, it's revealed to who they
They'll
really
tell
are.
on themselves.
Yeah, they tell on themselves, right? So time is big. So I don't think like just because you've been around someone for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, that
Sure.
you have to just stay there, because it's not you. If somebody hasn't shown you their true self and you've only started to find their true selves 5, 6 months down the road, you still have that choice to say, well, it's actually not what I want. I see this side of you for the past few months, and now I'm seeing this. And but that they're showing you is really showing you that side of them, and it's something that doesn't resonate with you. Then yes, you stick around to see if it's just something that's come up from the past, or something that's been triggered, even though they thought they were healed, let's say, but something
Yeah.
got triggered in them, because these things can happen. I know I've had things where I thought I'd healed myself in certain aspects, and then I'm triggered and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that was there. I had no idea. So it's not a bad thing, but I think that time and space, you must give yourself that. But if it's something so predominantly in your face, and you can't, you know, it's really does not resonate with you in any way, shape, or form, that's where you can say, you know what, I'm out on this one, and you can give yourself that time and space to open yourself up to go on another date or get to know
Yeah.
somebody else. It's not a bad thing.
But there's a reason why I said people vet quickly. It's because they don't like their time wasted. That's why I said people.
Yeah,
Some people vet very quickly because after like a week or two, they're able to see like, yeah, that person fits for me, or no, they don't.
yeah,
Instead of dragging it out.
yeah.
Some people need it that way because of they've been hurt before. But then if you're taking like a long time to vet somebody, because let's be honest, you're never gonna know everything about
Everything.
them. There's couples that have been together for 60 years that are still learning stuff about each other.
Well, you're still learning about yourself. This is the thing.
Yeah,
I
and
think
you're
we've said
still
this
learning about
before.
yourself. But
Yeah,
imagine being with somebody for 60 years or 50 years, and there's still things that you're learning about them.
because every day is a new experience. We're gonna find things in ourselves that we didn't know was there either, because every day is different.
Ooh.
And situations are gonna come around that have never come around, and you don't know how you're gonna react, or how you're gonna take it, or how you're gonna feel about it until it happens. So you get to know yourself daily, and I think you can never stop getting to know yourself. Therefore, you can never really fully know another person, because they're still getting to know themselves. So I
But
think
that's
you've
what
always,
makes it so cool because you'll hear these couples say, like, oh, like I didn't really know that much about them, like, or like that part, but the relationship still stays. I
yes,
think when it comes to the vetting, you need to know the core principles
yeah,
at
yeah.
the end of the day.
There's got. I suppose you speak. I suppose we've spoken about boundaries as well before. You know,
Mhm.
like having those boundaries in place and seeing, will they over. If somebody, you put a boundary in and someone oversteps that boundary once and then twice and three times, it's like, well, I know what you're going to say. You wouldn't allow it to go to the third time,
No,
but no.
no, no, it's not going to the
I
third
knew
time.
that already.
Well, it's just
Yeah,
because, again, look at it like this. The reason why you vet, it's because the basic principles of whatever your principles are, as Anthea said, marriage, kids, where you want to live, maybe, what your
your
goals and dreams are,
finances.
like the basics, you should at least have a flat down pattern of what the basics are
Yeah,
before you
absolutely.
move forward. Like, again, and I'm going to bring it up. I know I'm going to get flack for it. Have they been divorced? Are they a single mom? Like, these are all baselines that you should know before making your decision, or a single dad. But these are all baselines that you should know within, I would say, a 2-3 week time period before you decide to move forward on any type of platform, with them going forward. Now, I'm going to bring up something that's very interesting, why people don't vet. I think we touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to say why they don't. Feelings.
Mm-hmm. Number one, big time. Number one,
Feelings,
feelings,
because
emotions.
yeah, emotions. Because when someone meets somebody, especially if they haven't been like dating for a long time and they're not a serial dater. So a serial dater is somebody that goes out on like many dates.
Mm.
But let's say you've been single for like 3, 4 years or 2 years or whatever, and you haven't dated, and then you meet somebody, they make you feel a certain type of way, and then now you're all like, oh, they make me feel so good. Oh, like the conversations we're having, like just the way they hold me, touch me, kiss me, whatever, right? But then you've forgotten to ask, do they complement my life on a deeper root?
The blinkers go on, don't they? Because feelings take over,
Yeah, like I've
basically.
heard some people say, like, I'll be like, oh, hey, I guess you're getting to know this person. And I ask like questions, right? And they don't even realize I'm asking these questions. I'll be like, well, how's it going? Oh, we have amazing makeout sessions. Like, and I'm
What's that got to do with anything?
like, what the? Okay. Like, that's great for you. Like, that's amazing. But I meant, like, where are the deep routed questions of, do they complement your life long term? And I'll ask them questions. Do you want kids? Do they want kids? The Sometimes the woman will say, maybe, but the guy's like gung ho. You know what? I'm probably not going to date that girl, because you know why? Because at the end of the day, like let's say for example, she doesn't want to have kids, right? And she's like on the fence about it. You don't want to date a girl that's on the fence. You want a girl that's like, I want kids, possibly yours.
Yeah, if that person wants kids, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because what happens with a lot of people is they will go and date this person, knowing they're on the fence about having kids, and then try to push them there.
Yeah, and but that happens with so many things. It's like somebody wanting to travel the world, and then the other person,
It's like maybe, and then they'll
well,
be
or
like,
fearing or having this big fear of going to another country or getting on an aeroplane, and they're not prepared to try and do something about it. And they're like, nope, not doing it. I don't want to travel. Don't like traveling. I just don't like traveling. And the other person's like, well, I want to travel the world. So,
mm,
well, straight away, you've got completely different paths. They're
yeah.
completely different. It's like one's going to travel the world and the other one's going to stay home. Well, it doesn't quite work, does it? It's like,
Well, it's not only that. It's like, I don't want to have to convince you. If you're on the fence about having kids, clearly it's a no.
yeah,
And I'm not going
absolutely.
to waste my time for, like, let's say hypothetically I pick this person, right? We're together for 2, 3 years, right? And then let's say it's time to do that, and I'm like, hey, I'm ready to have kids, life's good, we're good. And she's like, I finally decided I don't.
Oh,
I
thanks.
wasted 2 years. Like, literally, I just wasted 2 years of a potential chance to possibly have kids with you, because you said maybe. Maybe's pretty much a no. And then 2 years comes around, and the next thing you know, you're telling me no. So I waited 2 years for nothing, when I could have been with a girl that could have given me kids like 100% guaranteed.
But that's where it's like this big selfish thing comes in, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, look, the way I look at things, Michael, and I don't know, like if you see it the same, but if you hear that somebody wants something different to you, or you can hear what they're saying, you've heard what they want, and you don't want that, just say it. Because I'm sorry, but no one has the right to like string somebody along for their own personal thing because they want to get sex, or because they want to potentially have children, and knowing the other person doesn't, and thinking that they can change their mind. I just think there's so many people. It's over 7.5 billion people on this planet. Don't mess with people. Like if
Well,
you
let's
don't
be
want
honest. They don't do it intentional though. It's
No,
just,
but look, it's got there's isn't this is where you get to know yourself before you go into
yeah,
a
yeah,
relationship. Because then
exactly.
it is intentional. Because if you're a conscious being, if you're aware of yourself, if you know what you want, then you will be able to hear and know and be conscious and aware of what the
Mhm.
other person wants. And if they don't want what you want, walk away, tell them, have that conversation. Listen, you want to be with your ex, let's say, you want to be you want children, I don't. You want to be sleeping around. You want to have multiple partners, and the other person doesn't want any of that.
Mm.
So if that's what you don't want that, but you think, oh, but they are the person that wants all of that, and the other person doesn't want all of that. But the person that wants it is going, well, at least I get good sex out of that person, or at least I get good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get to go out and do stuff with her or him. No, at the end of the day, there's plenty of other people that will match what you want to go and do that with. Stop wasting people's time.
See,
Be conscious, be aware, right?
I'm gonna add a dab of truth in there. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that some people don't know if they want kids or not. Like they're like that's the one example, but they need to take the time to go figure that out
Yeah,
and
that's what
not
I'm
be with you.
saying.
Yeah, like they
I'm
need to go
saying.
take the time to go figure that out
That's what
before
I'm
you
saying.
bet on them and choose them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, Michael.
Because
Have
that's
that
what I would say.
awareness.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they need to take a step away. It doesn't mean that they're doing it intentional. It's just they're entering into the relationship not sure if they want to have children or not. And then it just, for me, as I said, that's a no. You
Mm,
need to take time to step away to go think about it
mm,
and then maybe come back to me or whatever. That's what
mm.
I always say, guys. Maybe means no. Because if somebody's really into you, they won't give you the maybe answers.
Yes,
So that is something to really think about.
yes.
100%.
You just pointed. You just. That was, what you just said. If somebody's into you, they will
Yeah,
not give you the maybe answers. They will know. Listen, if you
yeah.
like someone and you want to get to know them, you want to get to know them. There's no, and if you want to have kids, you want to have kids. If you want to become a footballer, you want to become a footballer. Like
Yeah, it's pretty
people
straightforward.
try and make it like, oh, I'm not sure. Yes, well, if you're not sure, walk the other way.
Then you
Don't
need to
go
go
and
and get sure. That's
get
what you need
sure
to
and
go
come
and get
back.
sure.
Yes, go and get
Um,
sure, and then start getting involved with somebody. Like, don't get involved with people until you are sure, because you stop
you're
wasting
wasting
people's
their
time.
time.
Stop wasting people's time out here, people. Like, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop doing that. We are too like. Do you know what I said? I was on a podcast this morning. We were saying, look, like, I think it's something crazy, over millions. I can't remember, that 5 million people a year die, like, don't wake up in the morning. Yeah,
yeah.
we're the lucky ones. We've woken up. Who gives anyone the right to come in and mess around with your life when you've only got a certain time on this planet? We're not here forever, guys. We're just not. It's reality. We're not here forever. So the time we have here, like, respect each person, and if you don't know, then get to know, and don't go to people until you know.
And that's why I said, I mean, I guess it leads up to or not last question, but our one of our points is that's why having a strong vetting process is important. Number one, you don't waste your time, because this is how vetting people and learning the skill of vetting can save your life and
mm,
save your heart. Because
mm.
think about it like this, and I am going to drop um quite the bombshell on you, the hallelujah moment on you right now. Think of all of the people you've dated, and if you would have vetted them properly, you would have never dated half of them.
Right,
I'm going to say that one
right.
more time. If you would have vetted all of the people you've dated in the past, you probably would have never dated half of them. You only dated them because they made you feel some type of way. But if you would have came at it from a logical point of view and looked past the feelings and say, hmm, how does, like, this person like move? How do they operate? What do they want out of life? And just because even, and again, I'm going to throw a nice little caveat on there. Just because somebody wants all the things you want doesn't mean they're even for you.
Yeah, very true.
They could be good, but not good for you. And that's why, as I said, you get the, and there's nothing wrong with that. But stop thinking just because everyone wants, like, just because the person wants what you want, that they're for you.
Mm. There's so much more to it, isn't there?
There's deeper constructs to that point. It's more of a sense of like, okay, if you're a man, let's say, for example, let's say you're a man, you want someone that's loyal, submissive, agreeable, all of those things. You need to have certain things in position, and this is where we complement each other. You're looking for a woman that's like that, right? Because you can't build a woman. That's probably another topic we'll do. We can't build a man or build a woman.
Mm.
You need to find a woman that's ready to do those things,
Mm.
right? But then you also got to look at it too from the woman's side of point. Is she's looking for a guy that she wants to submit to, she wants to serve, she wants to do all those things for, and she has to vet properly as well. Because again, a lot of women have submitted to the wrong men.
Mm.
A lot
Yes.
of men have given direction to the wrong women.
Hmm. Well, those are the ones that just don't work out because you're just so on point in what you said. Just because you want the same things, it doesn't mean that it's there for you, because there is the
Nope.
deeper side of it. There is the emotional, there is the mental, there is the spiritual side of things. So those three things, yes. And I've seen people who want the same things and want to build in a certain way and do things, and they've done that, but the actual relationship together doesn't work.
Exactly. And you see, that's a very excellent point that you brought up, because you see, it's not about connection. Everyone uses that, oh my God, we need to connect, we need to vibe.
No, it's
Yo,
not
can we
about
take all that junk out the window? Literally, like,
that. I'm with
what it
you.
comes down to is, let's say you have Chad, you have Sarah. Yes, they like each other. Yes, they think they're attractive. And yes, they have similar interests. But it's, can we build together?
Mm.
That has nothing to do with feelings and vibrations and any of that stuff. I'm not against it, but let's look at it from a logical standpoint. Back then, and we're just using this as a template, during the caveman days, when the guy was out hunting and he didn't have a girl, but he was just out hunting for the tribe purposes, right? And he's looking for a girl and he picks one, and the girl doesn't say, well, I know you're the best hunter, but we need to make sure that we vibe and have a connection and all these things. No, she was like, clearly you're the top, you give me security, you're going to be the best provider, and we can build together and I can give you kids. He was like, perfect, that's who I want. You know what I mean? Like,
Had nothing to do with vibing, huh?
yeah, it had nothing to do with like vibing and connections and all these
Yeah,
things. It's like,
yeah. And
can we
actually,
build together?
you know what? I'm going to say the people that I have felt, oh my God, I've had this amazing connection with, and all these
Mhm.
goosebumps, and they so were not for me. It's not,
Exactly.
yeah, I realized that actually it's the ones that I can just, that I say the ones as in like, there hasn't been any of them.
I'm gonna
I,
okay. I'm gonna add a caveat to your thing. It's a very simple question. Once you've gotten to know this man, is this a man you want to serve for the rest of your life?
right.
Very simple question. And then as a man, when you're looking at a woman, is this the type of woman you want to protect and give security to for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Does she bring you peace? Does she bring you joy? Is she funny, friendly, non-combative? And then on the woman side, is it a woman that wants to serve a man, a woman that wants to build a house into a home, all those type of things. She brings you massive amounts of peace. She leads with femininity, all those things. right? So that's what I'm saying. It's not about any of those like vibrate, because those vibrations fade. And again,
Mm.
it's not a knock on you females. You guys change your emotions like a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
they
your
build.
emotions,
They either fade or they build as time goes
yeah.
on. It's like
But
it's
your
not
emotions are changing like this.
all the time, of course, especially as
So it's like
women.
if your emotions are constantly changing or in a constant vibrational flux, we can call it up, down, whatever
Mm.
you want to call it, those connections that you feel are the things that are hurting you when it comes to your vetting process, because you might see like Alpha Chad for, like, let's say you're in the office space. We're gonna use office space. You work in an office and you see Chad from accounting and you're like, damn, Chad from accounting really fills out those slacks, no homo. And then you're always caught up in the looks, right? You talk to Chad, Chad makes you feel good. But like, let's say secretly, Chad's a player.
Yeah, Chad's got a wife, a girlfriend.
Yeah, or
He's
like
got
he's
secret
got like whatever
babies.
going on. But because he makes you feel good, you keep entertaining the idea. Then next thing you know, you're having bedroom fun with Chad from accounting, and then it pops up. Chad's got a wife. Chad's got a girlfriend. Chad's a player. Chad's this. And the next thing you know, you got yourself in something neck deep. It's the same thing with a man. Men love looks. We do. But then we have to vet to make sure that the girl is, number one, not too obsessive, not crazy. She's got like some level of stability. She's very feminine, because you don't want to deal with a boss babe. Like we no, that, because again, that's a woman that's going to be combative right off the bat. She's going to be very difficult, especially if she says, "Well, I'm very independent." Difficult. Red flag. That's a no-no, because a lot of times I've noticed when somebody says that they're independent, they want to be rewarded for doing things that we should just be doing anyways. You
Mm.
don't get a gold star for being independent, like
For
taking
being
care
a
of
human
yourself.
being. Yeah, being a human being is
Yeah, like
taking care of
think about
yourself.
it. Taking care of yourself, providing for yourself, those are all things that you should
Normal.
just be doing anyways.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to
Absolutely.
do with you having success in a relationship.
No,
But
absolutely not.
but yet that's everybody's trump. I'm independent. Okay, but how does that help us in the relationship? It
But
does
yeah,
not.
I think it's going back to what you're saying. It's like it comes down to the deeper rooted stuff where like are they argumentative? Are they positive? Are they being somebody like do they want to build with you? There's
Yeah.
all these things and that you know it's
You
not
want
about
interdependence. That's what
yeah.
you're looking for.
Yeah, because being independent and just going at it by yourself, then you're just going to want to do it by yourself, and you are going to argue facts. You are going to argue things because you're so I'm
Yeah.
independent and it's what I want. Well, no, when you enter a relationship, it's not what you want only now. It's what you can both do together, and that's why we're talking about the vetting process, right?
Yeah.
Because
That's why interdependence is, can you work with a person?
yeah,
That's what it comes down to. Because if you're in a relationship and you're like, I'm so independent, then what you do is the woman's trying to take charge, the man's trying to take charge, the man feels demasculated, the
mm,
woman's taking charge, and then she loses attraction for him.
mm. You know what? It just made me think of when I was younger going for jobs, and we call it a CV. What do you call it?
Yeah, a resume. Yeah,
A
yeah.
resume, right? Now, I remember one of the things I used to write down was independent and a team player. And so, and because employers love that, because at the end of the day, if I can say, okay, yes, I can be independent and work by myself, yes, but I can also work as a team,
Yeah.
right? And they were my 2 points that I used to work with. And they loved and I always got the job I wanted because of those 2 points.
Yeah.
Because even an employer doesn't want someone who's just going to be like, I'm independent and that's the end of it. Because being just independent means that if we need to put you in a workplace and we need to put you to work with someone else, you're not going to do it. You're going to give us
Mm.
problems. You're going to be argumentative. You're going to say, like, well, no, I like to work by
Yeah.
myself. no, I like to work by myself. And you're going to give your employer a problem. So they want the people that can actually, yes, be independent and work by themselves because they want that, but they also want the people who are going to be able to work as a team and be a team player. So, and that's what it comes down to. I think every structure just works
It
the
is.
same, whether it doesn't matter what we're speaking about, right? It's
It's
like
just
there's,
interesting that you say that. Oh my. Okay, you know what? We're gonna bring this up. Okay, and it ties into the vetting process. And again, it's not hating on women or anything, but it's acknowledging a certain truth. A lot of women will say, "Well, what do you mean compliance? I don't want to do everything you tell me to do, and I'm not your doormat or whatever." Right? Very combative, right? I'm going to ask her one very important question. You wouldn't act this way in the workplace. Why are you very what's the word I'm looking for? You're very compliant in the workplace. Because if you're think about it, if you can comply in the workplace because you know that they will fire you, you will become
mhm,
very compliant.
mhm. But
So
at
why
home,
can't you
you
be
want to
that way in
push
your
the
relationship?
button because
Yeah,
they want
why
to put,
can't you
yeah,
be that way in your relationship? So clearly, it's not that you have a compliance problem. It's just you don't want to listen to me
yes,
because you can listen at work.
yes, yes. And this is what it comes to. It's the whole thing, isn't it? It's every part of it. You're so on point what you're saying. My
Yeah,
goodness, it's
like
so
think about it.
true.
You can listen at work when your boss tells you to do like this, and this, and you're not sitting there like, no, I'm independent. You can't tell me what to do because it's gonna be like, there's the door, your ass out.
Yeah, I don't even need to give you 2 weeks notice. Get
Yeah, I
out.
don't need to give you 2 weeks notice.
No, because again, it's a straight up disrespect, isn't it? So if
It
you're
is.
going to be like that towards someone, they're disrespecting you. Anybody that's going to come back at you and start screaming and shouting at you and not and like be so argumentative. I don't care if you're a male, if you're a
Yeah,
female, I don't care whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and whatever it is, if somebody's going to come at you and they're going to be shouting and screaming at you and speaking to you disrespectfully, then you're not going to what who why would you stick around? You're going to tell them there's the door, see you later. Like
yeah,
why would
it's
you even go back to
compliance.
that? Or why would you wouldn't, yeah, you're going to, it's going
It's
against the
it
compliances, isn't
is.
it?
It
Right.
is because it is compliance, but what it is, it's selective compliance. They're
Yeah.
choosing when to be compliant and not when to be. But in the workplace, you're fully compliant.
Yes. Yes, because there's a respect and because you want to stay there because it
There
means
you
so
go.
much to you. But in your relationship, you're not seeing it the same because you don't think your man or you don't think your
Yeah.
woman is going to say, you know what, F you, I'm out.
Yeah, but that's it. Like if somebody's like that, then don't date them. Because again, that's why it's so important to vet to see how it is. That's why sometimes it's very important to see how your partner handles chaos.
Hmm. Yes.
Because and I mean chaos is, let's say you guys disagree, do they yell, fight, and shout? How do they handle themselves in chaos?
How do they handle? Yeah, it's so important to see how someone handles their self in chaos. You're so right. Because somebody who stays calm in chaos and obviously will change their tone slightly, but is very calm, stays with what they're doing. You know that that person has taught themselves, shall we say, or has got to know themselves enough to not react because
I
so
That's pretty much what it is. But in
yeah.
those situations, let's say there's a little bit of chaos and you guys are arguing. Your woman doesn't want a very compliant man that's like a yes man. She wants an assertive man that knows how to assert himself when they're having a disagreement. And let's say things are getting a little heated and he's able to say, yo, bring it down, tone it down. Like you are not allowed to speak to me that way. And it's the same thing like
Absolutely.
with a woman, like, yo, tone it down. But the reason why I said that, if you vetted properly, you wouldn't have those problems because you would know that when chaos comes, this person doesn't yell. They're not rude. They're not crass because you vetted properly.
Mm, for
That's
sure.
the thing. See, so when you vet properly, you get a lot of the formalities out of the way and you're able to see like this person, if we get into a fight, they're not going to throw a plate. They're
Yeah,
not going to raise their
absolutely.
voice. They're not going to become like docile. You know what I mean? Like they're able to handle themselves.
Yeah. And there's so many people that don't know how to do that, Michael. So
No,
many people just react and react, and actually,
but they want a relationship. You
but they
see what
want
I'm
a
saying? Like,
relationship. Yes, and you know, I've been there in my younger days where I've been with somebody who their reaction, you just, and I used to watch, and I'm laughing now, and I'm sorry to laugh about this, but I used to think, is this person all right? Like, you watch these actions, and there's things, plates flying around, remote controls being flying, and I used to actually, as a young woman, feel like, this is really
but
bizarre.
see, this is where the accountability comes in because you picked him.
Yeah, I picked him because I didn't know any different, and
So that's the
this
thing.
is,
Like, it's
hang
it's
on,
hard to feel bad for somebody when they pick that person.
hang on, can I just say this is why I'm
Mm.
looking forward to Friday's episode, because this will lead to Friday, to why we don't know how to vet from a young age, and we put up with so much BS because we don't know no different, and there's a reason behind it, right? And I'm not saying take away accountability, because no, you still have to be accountable for the fact that you chose that person, but what you
Mhm.
don't know, you don't know. So if you don't know to do that, and if you don't know how to vet somebody because no one's ever shown you, or no one's ever had
Mm.
that conversation, or you've never seen it around in your life, then you don't know, and you can't blame yourself in a negative way. You have to just accept that that's what, like, for me, I accept, and that's why I can laugh, because I go, I can accept that, Michael, and I can say, look, I didn't know no different, but it doesn't mean that I'm blaming anybody. I just, to me, it was like, well, now I know different. I'm getting to know different. Like I said at the
Yeah,
beginning of
but
the
that's what it's
podcast,
about. It's about taking the accountability and making a different decision.
yes,
That's what it
yes,
comes down to
yes.
instead of saying like
But if
repeating the
you
same
don't,
pattern.
yes, but if you don't know to do something, then you don't know. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast, Michael, I didn't know about vetting either
Mhm.
up until more recently. So that's taken like 42 years, and no one sat with me to ever tell me, or I've never had the thing to think to myself, I need to vet somebody. So now, am I blaming anybody? No.
No.
I'm not. I'm taking accountability, and I'm just saying, okay, now I know. I'm having these conversations. I recognize, now I know what to do. But
I'll give you a caveat, a small caveat. It's not that you haven't heard it. It's just at the time when you heard it, it didn't comply to you. That's the difference.
I think I
Because we
heard.
hear this information. Think about it. We hear this information, but it doesn't comply to us at the time.
Not when
Because
I was younger, Michael. We didn't hear this. We
no,
didn't have internet. I didn't have the
well, not
internet.
like internet, but think about it.
No,
older brothers, or some type of
no,
people around us. Because I
no.
know I've heard it, but not as deeply as it is today. That's
Yeah,
the difference.
I
I've
hadn't heard
heard
it.
it, but not as deep as I've heard it, like how it's preached today.
I can honestly put my hand on my heart and tell you, I'd never heard it. Ever
Yeah,
had I
see?
heard it as a young lady growing up. Never had I heard it. It was, there was, don't know, just never came around. Maybe you're right. Maybe I was ignorant to it. Maybe it'd been said and I just never heard, like
Yeah,
never
because
actually
at the
heard
time, it's
it.
like you hear it, but you're like, what is that? Like, because at that time, you're still figuring things out. So you're like, I don't really want to. But you see, like, and this is why it's important to vet, because when you look, it's like, how do I say it? It's like lookout field. It's like little minefields, because it's like you're never going to walk into a minefield knowing there's mines and still go in it anyways. That would be dumb.
Yeah.
The whole point is look, making the, like, sure, okay, these are the landmines. Can I deal with this? So
Yeah.
like when it goes off, you're not like, oh crap, like I did not know this. And
Mm.
that's why I always tell guys, like, yo, like when you're going out on dates with girls and she's telling you she's like a boss babe or something, yo, just pay the bill and bounce. Because like that girl's gonna be a headache. Like, that right off rip, right? Or like somebody that's very like controlling. Like you can tell, like with a lot of these, and again, it's not an attack on women, but they'll shame a lot of men. They don't know how to adhere to male leadership. But you see what's interesting in the workplace, they do.
Yeah. Yeah,
because they
because they
have
got
male
something.
bosses. They
Yeah,
have male bosses and they adhere to their leadership very well.
and because they've got something on the line that they know that it's, to them, that's their bread and butter, and they can bring that in themselves. But with a man, I think it's more like being in that relationship, they
She
know
does
that
not feel the same. She's like, he's replaceable. I can find a new guy.
right.
So
And they
it's
think
very
of it
interesting.
in an easy manner. Where a job, you'd have to go on all these different job interviews. You need to go.
Mhm.
You have to prove yourself, and you should have to do that in a relationship too. But so many of us don't do that. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You have to be able to, and that's why I always tell guys like that her past is going to tell a lot because if she's been like cheated on, hurt, all these things, you need to figure out has she done the steps to recover and heal?
Mm, yeah,
Has she done
absolutely.
the work?
But same with
Be-
a woman to a man, though, Michael. Like, so many men can show up and be and
yeah,
have stuff happen to them, and they don't stop to heal themselves and come into another relationship and then dump all their, so to say, their shit onto you. And then
yeah.
you're like, whoa, I've got to deal with this.
But
uh,
that's what I mean, like the
yeah.
work. Like you see evidence of the work because even in the Bible it says you know them by their fruits. So it's like, have they done the work?
Mm,
That's what it comes down to because again, I'm not gonna date somebody that's been cheated on and had all these terrible things happen to them, but hasn't done the work.
yeah.
And I'm speaking this from a man's point of view because now she's gonna hate male leadership. She's gonna hate male authority.
Hmm.
Everything is gonna be pushback because she's basing it off of her experiences and she hasn't taken the time to heal. And I'm
Hmm.
not gonna wait for her to heal. I'm
No.
gonna go and find someone that has healed.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell guys: go find someone that has. Don't wait for her to get healed and get into that. Go move on and find someone that's already done the healing process and is prepped and ready to be in a relationship.
Yeah, because if someone's not ready to be in a relationship, you can't make them be ready. You don't want to make them be ready either. It's either they want it or they don't want it. And if they don't want it, you've got to just walk away, because if you don't walk away, you're just going to put yourself through stuff that you don't need to put yourself
Well,
through.
some people think they have because they haven't done the work, and
Yeah.
and and I want to end the podcast off on this high note. A lot of people get into relationships without studying relationship dynamics.
Mm,
That's the biggest thing. It's like we all know that if you want to become a mechanic, you got to study mechanic stuff. You want to become a doctor, you got to study doctor stuff. We all know this. So if
mm-hmm,
you want a relationship, why aren't you studying relationship dynamics? Why aren't
mm-hmm,
you reading books, watching videos, or whatever? You're just entering all these relationships based off of the information that you have and
mm-hmm.
maybe what your friends tell you, but you're not going out there and actually studying masculine and feminine dynamics and actually understanding what each side wants, the men and the woman.
Because then you know how to show up and you know how
Yeah,
to be in
because then
a
you know how
relationship.
to show up.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because then once you study relationship dynamics, maybe you could say, damn, like maybe I do need to take a step back because I know I did. I still am. Because when I read books like this and I am or was a nice guy,
Mm,
and I could take accountability for that. I was a super nice guy. But ever since I started studying relationship dynamics, I've learned to let that part of myself die
mm,
because it wasn't serving me in my relationships.
mm.
And that's why I'm being honest with you guys and telling you guys cold hard facts. You want to be in relationships? Study relationship dynamics
No.
because you're going to keep failing at them if you don't study them. Understand what women want, understand what men want, and don't shame each other for what each other wants. Now, are women's standards a lot higher than men? Yes. 100%. But as a man, you should still feel comfortable in your skin to say, well, maybe that's not the girl for me. Her standards are like crazy.
Mm,
And again, and it's not an attack on women, but I think a lot of times women don't understand that the man that they want is in a small group of dudes. They want the dude making six figures, they want the dude making XYZ, but only 10% of people in the world make six figures.
mm.
10. That's a small group. So that's why we always say you have to adjust your standards.
Like before you go, I heard something the other day, and it was a boyfriend and girlfriend talking, and the boyfriend had asked the girlfriend, "Babe," he goes, "if you met somebody that was making millions, would you leave me for him?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Are you joking?" And she goes, "What?" She
No.
goes, "Why would I stay with you? You don't earn anything. So if somebody comes
Wait,
along
was
that's
he
earning
broke?
millions," he was broke.
Oh yeah, then yeah, she's out.
So she was like, "I'll be gone."
Well, there's no security there.
There's no security there whatsoever. So she was just like, he sat, bless him, with his mouth wide open, like, "I can't believe you just said that." She goes, "Well, you asked me, I'm telling you." Like,
Well, that's the
well,
thing. When people understand relationship dynamics, women date up, men will date down.
yeah.
And what I
And
mean
women
is,
do
a
say
guy
I'm
will happily date a girl if the guy's like financially secure and he sees like the prettiest thing flipping fries at McDonald's. He'll totally date the girl working at McDonald's. A woman won't,
yeah.
because it threatens the thing that she wants most, which is security, right? And she
Yeah.
wants children and all those things. And she understands that if she dates a guy working at McDonald's, if he's not in like management or like, even then she's still like, but if she's dating a guy just flipping fries, she understands that to have kids and a house and all that, you're not going to be able to do that on a minimum wage salary. So
No.
when she sees that individual, she doesn't see ambition. And guys, don't hate women for this. It's just how they're
No.
hardwired.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, though, because look, at the end of the day, again, we're here to live a life. Now, if we want to live a great life, then why does a woman have to be judged or shamed for wanting a man who actually is bringing in a good income and they can live a good life together? And she hasn't got that pressure on her head. They can come together and they can share their resources together. So, not saying like she might still want to work and still want to run her own
Yeah.
business, still want to bring in her money, but at the end of the day, there's no shame for a woman to want a man who already has that security going on or is building that security for himself. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be that he has everything right now, but if he's got a vision and he's got dreams and he's going for them, and you can see that he's going for them, and that will accumulate into a cash flow and into a decent cash flow. So in time you're going to have a beautiful home somewhere that's away from everything else, that's not like just things that we desire. I think having a man with that security and that feeling is everything.
Well, that's why I tell men to walk away from women and go build up your kingdom. Go build your kingdom. Because that's the thing. When you start dating, you want your woman to feel like she landed the best option. Because
Yeah,
if she feels that she can do better, she will go
she
get
will
better.
walk. She
She will
will
walk. And
walk.
again, as I tell guys, don't get mad at it. Like, go build your kingdom. Because when a woman leaves you, let's say, or whatever happens, it's a good thing for you to take a step back, reevaluate yourself, and then move forward. And that's what I'm saying. Like, but see, most people don't understand relationship dynamics. So when they don't understand that women date up and men can date like kind of wherever, like he's not going to date like a bummy chick, but you know what I mean, that he can kind of date wherever. Once we understand that dynamic, it's a lot easier.
Mm. But I also do think that a lot of women will very willing to go and get with a man who is building himself.
To some degree,
Yeah.
because if that's a girl that has options, why is she going to wait for you to build when she can go date a guy that's already built?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's keep it 100, right? Like, she would have to really really like you for her to wait. And it depends too, because if it's a girl that wants kids and wants all those things, she's on a time clock,
Yeah, I
so
hear that.
she's not waiting.
I just watched other podcasts where women have said, and I remember one particular one where the girl was saying she looks after her man, and the guy said, "How long are you going to do that for?" Because
Not long.
at first she said, "Oh
Not
no, I'm
long.
quite happy doing that." And as the conversation opened, he goes, "How long are you actually going to do that for?" And she goes, "You know what?
Not
Actually,
long.
I just realized how draining it is to actually have to hold my man financially. I want a man who's going to hold me financially, and
See.
even though I still bring in the money, I want to know that I've got that security behind me, because she said, I feel just through the conversation, having a realization that she's drained from her man coming to her,
See,
asking her for money, or just leaning on her for support. And it becomes that masculine feminine thing, doesn't it? They just switch
see,
roles, automatically switch roles.
see,
So yeah.
exactly. But the girl was honest and was like,
Yeah, and she actually got a message come through on the podcast at the time, saying someone, he was well, he had stated that he was a multi-millionaire, and if it was okay to send his number through for them to
see,
connect. And she just straight away said, yeah, okay, yeah,
no, she did
definitely,
this.
yeah,
She was
bounce.
done.
She's gone.
She was
She
gone.
literally was gone. And they were all laughing, because they were saying, you were saying at the beginning how much you love him and that you're happy to support him. And by the end of the show, she was more than willing to take on the
She already
multi.
had another dude lined up.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I just
No, but
think
it's
I
the
just think
truth
humans
though.
are brilliant. The stuff that we do and the way we're programmed to be, and I find it so interesting.
But that's why we have to understand it, because a lot of people are talking about this whole 50-50 thing,
Yeah, it
this
doesn't
whole
work.
like
50,
this
man.
whole like I don't mind if my woman takes charge. Yeah, you don't mind for now, but it's not something she's built to do. What people
Yeah,
don't understand is a lot of people are playing roles that they're not meant to play in a
yeah,
relationship.
and that's why it
It's no
doesn't work.
offense, but I meant let's look at it logically, right? Um, they're playing roles they're not meant to play. So it's like a man being feminine. It's not a role. He's failing at that role. He sucks.
Yeah, I like it's like, do you know what you're saying? And all I can think is, I see my man, I want to fall into his arms, I want to feel his arms and that security. I don't want him to fall into me and me to
Yeah,
my arms,
exactly. It
and him
sucks.
to feel the security. It's like, what's going on here?
And then when we look at it, when a woman tries to be this masculine person, it sucks,
Yeah,
because it's like now you're dealing with one of your guy friends with benefits. No
yeah,
homo. But
exactly.
that's what it's like. And that's what people don't understand,
Wow,
that if you take the time to study, understand the vetting process, understand all of these dynamics, you can have a higher success rate at your relationship.
so true, so true.
Because if you're tired of failing, tired of having your heart broken, you can't move the way you were moving. It doesn't work.
No,
You have to take a step back, throw your old plan out, and adapt a new plan. A plan with boundaries, a plan with not being afraid to walk away, because I have some guy friends, and again, that have been like treated poorly in a relationship, physically abused, mentally abused, um all these type of things, right? And it's not shade at them, but it's like, if you're able to really be like, look, I don't tolerate that behavior, I am going to walk away from you, and she has that fear of God in her that you will leave, she will leave, because a lot of times when women act this way, they don't respect you.
yeah, they don't. They don't. And I'm saying that from a woman as well. If a woman is speaking to you in a certain way, doesn't listen to what you've asked
Nope.
from her, she has no respect for you.
And then she can't love you either.
And she
Respect
can't, like,
comes first
yeah,
and then love.
then love. Thank you, Michael. Respect first and then love. If a woman is listening to what you're saying, and whether you're with her, you're not with her, she's a friend, she's a family, I don't care what she is to you. If she's listening and she takes on board what you say, it's because she has respect.
She is
But if she
respectful.
goes against what you've just said and what you've just asked from her, there's no respect. And it's not like she's going to gain respect all of a sudden.
No, because there's a lack of it. It's like, even when you let problems slide in your relationship, there's a lack of respect. That shit should have
Yes,
been handled.
should
Like
have been
it's like
handled.
it's like that shit should have been handled. Like, you know what I mean? And whatever the situation is, but it should have been handled, because it shows a lack of respect when it drags out. Is the
Yes.
point I'm trying to make. When it drags out longer than it should have, it's a lack of respect, because it's like, we're adults, right? And being adults, I shouldn't have to tell you something multiple times to get something done,
Absolutely.
right? You should already be on that
long time ago, especially if
business.
you're a man, because that's the masculine side to go and do something. You've so your woman's asked you of something, then you're not going
Well,
to do
she shouldn't
it.
even have to ask because you should know your girl.
Yeah,
That's the thing. You should know how your girl moves, what she tolerates, what she doesn't tolerate, and being able to operate within those lines.
I
So it's
agree.
like when she needs you to be masculine, you're able to be that. You're able to be what she needs you to be when you need to be it, and the girl is able to be what you need when you need it. So yeah, honestly, hopefully you guys took something away from this podcast. As I said, this is probably one of the more important ones that we've done, because this is where we see a lot of failure in relationships is people don't vet people. They're too emotionally all caught up. They're too emotionally gaslit. They're too like, oh my god, they're so wonderful, they're so, and it's like you know nothing about them. You're having bedroom fun with them and you don't even know their last name. You know what I mean? It's like you know what I mean? So it's like, come on now, like, let's
Guilty.
be
Yeah.
adults. Let's make wiser decisions. Let's make wiser choices, because that's what's getting you hurt. You're operating off a failed blueprint. You've dated people in the past, we all have. So then it's like you're operating still off of that old blueprint.
Absolutely. Go for the blueprint that works. Vet
But
them.
that's the thing. You got to find that blueprint that works. And that's by studying relationship dynamics. You can't keep being the nice passive guy. You can't keep being the assertive masculine feminine woman. It doesn't work because you're looking at your relationships and saying, hey, I can get, like, for example, a girl could say, well, I can get guys, but how many guys have you retained? Where's your boyfriend now?
Mm,
Same thing with a guy. How many girls have you dated where you were so passive that the attraction level just dropped
mm.
because you were too passive and you didn't know how to assert yourself?
So true, huh?
I'm saying in a healthy way. And that's what I'm trying to say. Because an attraction will drop. A woman will lose attraction for you when she can't see that her man can be assertive. Because when
Yeah,
she sees
sure.
that, she's gonna be like, if he can't assert himself here, what happens when Joe the robber breaks in the house? So again, it's just something for you guys to all think about. You need to think about what I want you guys to leave with is your vetting process. Do you have one? If not, get one. If you do have one, is it strong?
And do you use it?
Yeah, and do you use it?
Yeah.
Or
Don't
are
keep
you
having one
sitting
and don't
here?
use it.
Yeah, or are you sitting here googly eyed every time you see a girl and you're getting weak in the knees?
Yeah, or
She's
vice versa.
human. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a human. Calm down. And so, you know what I mean? Like, these are all things that we hope you guys can learn. And we will see you guys on Friday. As I
Friday.
said, we only got 3 more episodes left, and then we'll be returning back on New Year's, for our rolling into 2022 episode. Um, but as I said, we're really happy to do this. As I said, guys, just please like, share, subscribe, and it helps us. We end up helping you, and we end up having better discussions. So yeah, we will see you
Absolutely.
guys this Friday.
See you later, everyone. Have a good day.